At the scrapyard, an old man told me he had received a very old Honda motorcycle and was willing to sell it for scrap metal price. We went to take a look, and it really was a Honda. It looked like a 125 cubic centimeter bike, but had a 4-cylinder engine. This was the legendary Honda CB400, the street bike that never goes out of style. I wiped the dust off the gauges and checked all the switches. Everything was still working. Then I peeled a big chunk of body filler off the fuel tank, so I knew I had to negotiate the price. If the engine was still good, it would be a great deal. After bargaining, I bought it for 800 yen. I quietly loaded it up and took it home, feeling excited. At that price, even hearing it run once would have been worth it. The first thing I did was clean off the dust so I could inspect the bike's overall condition. I'll keep the throttle cable safe for now. The battery is from 2020, and after 6 years, it's completely dead. Let's connect an external power source first. Turn the key on. Whoa, no way. The wiring had deteriorated with age, causing several wires to melt together. I repaired the damaged section using a soldering iron and carefully resoldered each wire to ensure a solid electrical connection. After that, I wrapped everything tightly with electrical tape for proper insulation. The instrument cluster lit up. It has only 22,900 kilometers on the odometer. Alright, now, let's see if it will start. It starts without any problem. Let's add some fuel and see if we can get it running. Wow, the fuel tank is full of rust. I'll connect a temporary fuel bottle directly instead. Oh no, I think I just ruined the engine. The damage has definitely made its way inside. The cylinder head is covered with scratches. I can't believe this. How did the cylinder get scored? Let's tear it down and find the real cause. So the noise we heard really was engine knock. Time to get to work. We'll pull the engine out and completely strip it down. The outside looks pretty clean with no thick oil sludge, but appearances can be deceiving. We won't know the real condition until we open it up. The piston ring had completely fused to the piston. The other 3 cylinders were fine, but one cylinder had melted debris that stuck directly to the cylinder wall. I've never seen a piston ring melt onto a cylinder like this before. It shows just how extremely hot the engine got. This is a perfect example of severe overheating damage. The bike was almost turned into scrap. Luckily, the most important part of the engine, the crankshaft, was still in excellent condition. The main bearings looked almost brand new, and the crankshaft surface was still perfectly smooth. Even the rod bearings looked beautiful. No wonder the cooling system wasn't working before. This is the coolant temperature sensor, and it has no electrical resistance at all. Let's test the resistance of the new sensor. It measures around 200 ohms. What does that mean? It means the old sensor was faulty. We'll replace the damaged piston rings, the scored cylinder, and the faulty coolant temperature sensor. Once those parts are replaced, the engine's cylinder scoring problem will be completely fixed. First, everything gets thoroughly cleaned. All the parts go into the ultrasonic cleaner to remove every trace of oil and dirt. Then the valve cover is refinished and repainted to restore the factory look. The main replacement parts have arrived, including a good used cylinder and a brand new piston. Every engine part is laid out and ready for assembly, so this engine can come back to life. I'm assembling the transmission gears first, because if they're installed incorrectly, the bike won't shift properly. Next, come the piston rings, and the ring gaps must be staggered. If you skip this step, the engine will burn oil. We install the piston and cylinder first, and then the cylinder head, which is the opposite order of most engines. Don't ask how I know, because I learned that lesson the hard way. Finally, the connecting rod bolts are tightened to the factory specification using an electronic torquey wrench. below 6,500 revolutions per minute, only 8 valves are active, making the 4-cylinder engine extremely fuel efficient and using only about 3 liters per 100 kilometers. But once the engine revs past 6,500 revolutions per minute, the ECU sends a signal to the solenoid valve and high-pressure oil flows into the valve lifters, activating all 16 valves instantly. The most exciting moment has finally arrived. Now we'll see if all 1,000 plus engine parts were assembled correctly. Here we go. Let's start. This is exactly how it was meant to sound back in its glory days. Just listen to it. The engine is incredibly smooth and quiet, without a single unusual noise. That engine knock is completely gone. The idle is rock solid and all 4 cylinders are firing perfectly. Ah, this feels absolutely amazing. I really found a hidden treasure this time. I can't even put my excitement into words. I absolutely love it. The engine has been successfully brought back to life, and it runs without a single abnormal noise. Right then and there, I decided to fully restore this classic motorcycle to its original factory glory. Guys, this teardown almost broke my spirit. I honestly didn't even want to keep going. You really do get what you pay for. The rust on the frame is as thick and rough as tree bark. The taillight is completely destroyed. Worst of all, the fuel tank is beyond saving. I was completely crushed. This one's going to be a real challenge. Follow along, because I'm going to restore every single one of these parts back to like new condition. We'll start with the mainframe. If you've made it this far, send me a virtual flower for some encouragement. I finally learned my lesson and brought out the dry ice blasting machine. It's faster and much cleaner. After cleaning, the frame is completely dry and spotless. I spent 2 hours on it, making sure even the hardest to reach corners were perfectly clean. I have to admit, dry ice cleaning really works. It cleaned everything thoroughly and left the frame looking exactly the way it should. Then I looked at the fuel tank and immediately got frustrated. The first step was applying paint stripper and letting it sit. Soon the old blue paint started to wrinkle and peel off in large sheets. A light scrape with a putty knife and it came off like paper. Then I uncovered a huge layer of body filler. That was one surprise I definitely didn't want. The repair just became a lot more difficult. There was a crack and a deep dent hiding underneath. First, I used an angle grinder to remove the remaining paint and rust. Then, I marked every dent with a marker so none of them would be missed. My plan is to cut the fuel tank open so I can repair and straighten it from both the inside and the outside. After putting in an incredible amount of time and effort, we finally did it. The entire exterior of this CB400 has been successfully restored. It's time to put all these parts back together and turn them into a brand new motorcycle. Let's get started. It looks absolutely amazing. It's so cool. Is this really the same motorcycle from before? Look at it. Doesn't it look exactly like the one from the posters back in the day? It feels like we've returned to that passionate era again. The thing that excites me the most about this bike is the deep and powerful roar coming from its hidden 4-cylinder engine. Put on your headphones and experience the incredible sound after 6,500 revolutions per minute. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest videos. I bought it for 800 yuan and spent more than 2,000 yuan on repairs and replacement parts. If this video gets over 100,000 likes, I'll ride this motorcycle back to the old man and see his reaction.